What, maybe one last question, what do you have in mind as an individual, as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, to help things go in that direction to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire?
Well, of course, I've waited too long. I'm an old man, but I'm still determined that in the last 20 years of my life, I'm going to put full energy into this. I'm trying to establish a farm in the Hudson Valley, close to New York City, that will be producing food. It's not going to be a country ashram where devotees go to hear the birds chirp. It's going to be a place where everyone's employed, where everyone's engaged, and we will produce excess food, sell it in the city. It's very easy to produce enough food to feed yourself. But it's also quite realistic to produce excess food. And because we're in America, this is a natural transitional process to create health foods, to manufacture health foods, to grow those foods, and to be known in New York City for having a food-producing community. That'll be a great preaching tool also, and it will attract many more young people. People walk by us on Harinam every day who like us, who love the kirtan. They even come to kirtans, but they don't join us because we don't show a practical lifestyle. We don't actually have an answer to the question that's rolling around in their heads every day they wake up in the morning. How do I live? How do I live? How do I live? We don't have the answer to that question. So my intention here in my work in New York City is to establish a farm. There are other devotees that are, like especially Ramapad Swami, who are supporting and helping me on this. And then that will grow into a full community in time. In India, I'm working to establish a traditional Gurukula that will not be teaching, there will be maybe some Brahmanas, but our focus will be to teach Vaishyas and Kshatriyas and Sudras. But core teaching will be for Vaishya Dharma. So the Vaishya Dharma has to be developed. And I'm, building that school now. I have the land and the location, and I'm building that. Right. So to create a Gurukula, because we can't really, we're not going to be allowed to have a proper and traditional Gurukula in America without being interfered with by the government. But we'll also have to have schools here as best we can.
Right. What advice would you have to, let's say, devotees in general regarding what seems to remain today somewhat controversial, the whole Varnashram aspect, how to make an impact, so to speak, or how to convince or present this whole dimension or aspect that Prabhupada spoke about to our general devotees who are doubting or doubtful?
Well, a disciple doesn't have an option of being doubtful. He only has to question whether Guru said it. Mm-hmm. If Guru said it and he's a disciple, the mathematics are very simple. He does it. It's not for him to reason why, but for him to do and die.
But sometimes devotees quote Srila Prabhupada as having doubts about Varnashram, or even saying that it's not possible in Kali Yuga.
Well, I think there's been some good scholarship done, and recently I know at least Tukaram Prabhu is compiling all of what Prabhupada said. When you take the full balance of everything he said about Varnashram, the scale tips very, very decidedly in one direction. If you don't have a proclivity for Varnashram, well, maybe you have to do preaching in the city and that's all. I don't know. But where will you send your people? Where do you send them? Mm-hmm. I'm asking you as a preacher, You make devotees. Where do you send them? Do they all go to live in Mayapur? You want the whole world to come live in Mayapur? Is there room? You think the West Bengal government would be happy about that?
Probably not.
Probably not. No. Where will you send them? How many brahmacharis do you think you can make until you've exhausted the potential in so many other people that wish to be devotees, but you're not giving them a shelter? You're not giving them a way to engage. At some point, if you're actually compassionate, actually carry out this thought process, you have to conclude on Varnashram. You have to conclude on farm communities. Otherwise, you're keeping it, it's like you're putting your head in the sand. Where will you put them? You're going to pack them all into the Washington, D.C. temple, all into the Brooklyn temple, all into the little Boston temple? How long does this go on?
Right.
When do you finally realize that this is meant to be a worldwide revolution? It is not just supposed to be little temples here and there. This is a very early stage, and we're not supposed to stay at this stage. We're supposed to be growing.
Yes.
So think it through. Where do you send them? Will you send them all out to get IT jobs? Is that the answer? Or do you just ignore the Americans and just preach to the Indian diaspora? That seems to be a convenient solution for many in America. When you actually take up Prabhupada's mission and believe that it's going to manifest, you have to believe in what he said, that it will manifest. Think it through. Where will it end up? Will we all be running New York City? Maybe we'll make everyone in New York City a devotee someday. And if they really were devotees, would they live in New York City? Would they live there with all the rats and the urine on the ground and the filth and the slime and the money coming in from the world, exploitation of the world? That's what these cities are. These are the headquarters of these are the war rooms that are attacking Mother Earth, living on alcohol, living on the meat of our mothers. Is this what we're going to do? We're going to man the cities? Think it out. You have to return to village life. Krishna lived in a village. It's not a poetic metaphor. That's where he lived. That's where he wants to live. And that's where devotees want to live, naturally.
And that's where he wants us to live.
That's where he wants us to live. The happiest I ever saw Srila Prabhupada in terms of his external experience was when we were in Bhubaneswar staying in those mud huts in 1977.
Open land.
In the open land there. And he was shirtless, just his simple dhoti, and eating off of cow dung fire, sitting on a charpoy, and he was just beaming.
Speaking of cow dung, can you say a few things as to how important are cows?
Well, Vedic culture is cow-centric. It's nothing but cow-centric. And this is unique. You know, you could say, well, there is a lot of organic farming and there's a lot of back to the land notions, but no, our idea is different. It's cow-centric. There is no vegan yogi. You will not find a vegan yogi.
Why?
Because the very essence of the human being, the ojas, the cerebral cortex, the fluid in the spine, these are nourished by ghee. They're nourished only by ghee. Ghee is the essence of cow milk. Cow milk is the essence of the cows grazing on the grasses. The grasses are the essence of Mother Earth. And the cow takes all of that, condenses it, and it's finally condensed in ghee. Not what you buy in the Indian store. And not what you get by boiling sticks of butter. That is not ghee. That is buttered fat. It's completely different. Ghee is made from yogurt. Because the yogurt, the microorganisms in the yogurt digest that fat molecule to a smaller format so that it can actually penetrate all the way into the ojas. And without that nourishment, the finer brain tissues are not nourished. The heart will not become soft. if you're not drinking mother's milk. You'll become a Mayavadi, you'll become a Buddhist, right? I understand devotees who have sworn off blood milk, but Prabhupada didn't swear off blood milk because he knew that milk is so essential to cultivate our finer sentiments that even if it had to come from that, he would take it. He didn't want his society to become Buddhists, dry. We have to have the juice of mother. The love of her nature is in that milk. It's the milk of human kindness. So there's no vegan yogi. And we are practicing a yoga process. This is bhakti yoga. So milk is essential. The cow is centric to our agricultural techniques. The fertilization, the labor on the fields, it's all supplied by cow. And she brings all auspiciousness. Krishna is not with the cow to look pretty in a picture. He loves the mother cow. She is the essence of motherhood. And he loves that nature, that nurturing, loving, selfless nature of the cow. Nothing can match the cow. She is the mother.
Yes.
And she's the alchemist who translates the gifts of Mother Earth into the most condensed and perfect form of food for the human body, at the subtle levels of the human body.
As a closing remark, any kind of advice you might like to give to devotees? How can we begin to understand? Because without properly understanding, we cannot put into practice. How to come to some of these understandings, some of these points, some of these maybe points of realization that you touched upon?
Well, I don't know if I'm a proper person to give advice, but since there are so few voices in this area, I'll have to fill in the gaps as a sort of substitute teacher. The first thing is to understand Prabhupada's urgent desire for this by considering all that he said about it. Then consider the importance to us and to the devotees that are coming in the future. How will they live? Feel some compassion for those people you're preaching to. Where will you send them? How many can you pack into your local temple? And how well will they be taken care of? And how soon will they be blown out? Like so many are blown out. Our wheels are spinning. It's like they're spinning in the mud, and the faster we spin, the more that mud gets slick, and the more the wheel has no hope of traction. Right? So we've got to produce a society that offers all types of engagements that all funnel through to finally be burned in the fire of Sankirtan Yajna. So you have families that are engaged in producing food, that's feeding the devotees, that's feeding the Sunday feast, that's producing good children. Those children are going to Gurukulas, and they're becoming preachers. They're becoming rishis, because they've been bred well, they've been raised well, they've been trained well. And they know how to do everything. They know how to guide society into the future. You have to look down 100 years from now, 200 years from now. Where is our work going? Is it going to hit a wall? Is it going to hit a dead end? I think so right now. Strategically, it's heading to a dead end. Because you're going to come to a point where you can't squeeze any more in. The way to open the field is Varnashram. Then you start thinking about practical ways to start. I'm trying to do that in New York by starting a farm community. Yes, I have young adults who were not bred or born in Krishna consciousness, but they can do basic work. They can produce food. We have a health food movement in the world today that's very it's very robust. It's growing. There's a tremendous opportunity to get people interested in us because of our food, good food, and to have an exchange of money. We still need money, in America at least, right? We still need money to function. So there's an exchange there, and it gets our devotees into the land and developing an expertise, right? We don't have to wait for World War III or the zombie apocalypse before Varnashram. That's such a childish notion. Take a look around you. World War III started long ago. You have one of the largest nations on the world, it's called Islam, declaring war on us, on all of us. It's the beginning of a world war. It will manifest in so many different ways, but it's already begun. The zombie apocalypse, again, take a look around you. The people are becoming zombies. They're grabbing guns and knives and doing it to go out and murder en masse, regularly, daily. People are losing their minds. They're going mad.
So the time of waiting is past.
Time of waiting is long past. And what do you think? There'll be you think one fine day CNN's going to tell you, oh, by the way, World War III just started. It's official now.
Right.
Right? Oh, okay. Let's go get our pitchforks and head out to the fields. Grow our own food. Yes, that's going to work. This is what the Pilgrims thought when they came. This is what the Jamestown people thought when they first came over to Roanoke, Virginia. And they tried to establish the first colony here. And when they came back the next 3 years later, they were all gone. They were all dead because they weren't ready for it. Right? So if you're looking for an apocalyptic sort of proclamation, that's very childish, very foolish. It's already begun. And it's time to start finding an alternative life.